Right, so let me just give a name to this. Name pieces. Okay, and now if we drop another RBD bullet solver, plug that in, and then set this, you just have a checkbox there, emit RBD. Right, and then we need the collider, so that will be the surface. Could try this, let's just try it. Like that, and try it, set it to concave. So you can see that we're getting different pieces on each frame. And I'm just hoping they collide correctly. What I don't want is for them to be floating or passing through. So, oops. Let's just kind of zoom in closely here. It looks like they're sitting on the surface and not, you know, on one plane. Great. Okay, so we want to limit how many of these. So the way to do that, I'm just going to use a switch up here. And what I'm going to do is drop a connect a null to this switch. So one switch will go in there like that. And all we'll say is $F is more than, let's say, 40. So we'll be emitting for 40 frames. So for 40 frames, and then it will turn off, basically. Okay. Okay, and then I'm going to time shift this to frame 60. So, you know, that would give us, let me just turn this off, delete channels, frame 60. So just let that play through. There we go. A couple of pieces falling through, but that's okay. So there we get a nice kind of pile of debris, rocks and stuff on the top. You know, you can adjust them as you wish. Maybe those big pieces are a bit too big. Let's see from that camera. Yeah, I think I'll make them smaller and less of them. So if we move this, let's make them, yeah, let's come back up here. Right, so I'm going to make these smaller still. So let's do half, 0.25. This one to 0.7, let's say. Oh, 0.7. And move it up to 0.99. And then this I'm going to do to 0.2. Okay, so we've got 0.2, 0.07, 0.025, right. So that seems a bit better to me, so we can, let me just save this in case this crashes now. Reset the simulation, go through that again, doesn't take too long. There we go, bit better I think in terms of scale. Okay, so now what will take long is actually simulating these with the actual simulation, right? So we need yet another RBD bullet solver. Drop that down here. So these will go into the first input there. I'm going to move them up just so they have a bit of time to settle, just in case some of them kind of, oh, not trail, I want to transform. Just going to drop them onto the geometry. Say 0.2, just move them up just a tad. Okay. And then obviously we need the other geometry as a collider, the original simulation, but it's going to be a bit heavy. So what I'm going to do is go in here. Okay, I'm going to also click and drag on that and plug this first input into the proxy geometry there. Okay, and then I'm going to change this to main, excuse me, terrain proxy. So we get another, we've got a different rest geometry here. There we go. But this should be a bit faster, it's simpler geometry, right? So I'm going to drop a null here. and call this out proxy sim. Right, and then copy that, jump out here, back into my debris. Get rid of that, jump into my debris. Okay. You can file cache this if you like, but I'm going to be caching this under here, so I'm not going to bother. It doesn't take too long. So bring our proxy sim in there. What I want a bit of time for the debris to kind of settle on the top, right? So I'm going to drop a time shift and set this to be $frame -10, so that gives us a kind of padding of 10 frames. And then I want to clamp to the first frame, so that first frame will stay the same for 10 frames, and then the simulation, you can see that's the same as that, and then after 10 we'll start to get pieces falling. You can see it's taking longer now reading in the cache. If I go forward there, it'll start to fall. There we go. Okay, so back to the first, this will be our collider. Let me just double check. Okay, we need to delete that active attribute. Should probably do that before the rest thing actually, but I should be fine. So delete that. The rest of the stuff should be fine. Okay, just to make sure that that stuff, well, isn't active in here. Okay, so I want to file cache this. I don't think the RBDIO would work here because we got changing, you know, we're emitting. So let me just get a file cache, normal file cache. And we're doing the 200 frames, right? So delete that. And let's go into our sim folder, into the terrain, and make a new folder. Let's call this surface debris. Copy that, go inside, and then we want oops, not percent. We want $F3. Geo. And I think that's it. Let me save this. The collision, we want deforming static objects. If I'm not mistaken, or no, I think animated, yeah, animated should work. Let me just try, let's just check that. Come up here and delete. Let's just find a piece that moves early on. So this piece, delete that. And do delete non-selected, get rid of that so it happens quickly. Okay, so I just want to see if this this piece moves. So these will all just fall straight down, but that's fine. There we go. See it moving already there. Okay, so we can go back, and I can get rid of that. Bring that back. Okay, and save that to disk. Right, just got a flipbook put together here. I'll just show you, and I've just colored, you know, just merged in the collider and just made the debris red so we can see it a bit better. Okay, so let's take a look. So we get that initial few seconds that landing, and then, you know, I suppose we'll render from about here. But yeah, it looks all fine. You know, it's nothing complicated here. We got the collisions working correctly. We can set this to 10 here, and we won't see those first 10 frames. Okay, so they're kind of following along, and some bits falling off there. You know, there's no bits, some bits flying off there that looked cool, and you know, falling into the cracks and stuff like that. Yeah, that looks good. Perfect.